Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much again for joining me here. Happy Saturday. Hope you're having a phenomenal weekend. Taking a look here at Solana, see what's going on. We got our weekend vibes going on here, right, folks? So put on those sunglasses and take it easy. Of course, obviously, it might be cold where you're at. Generally speaking, maybe not really willing or needing to wear those. Regards to that fact, sidebar, congrats to our community members here for some nice profits from Solana. This is our day trading bot, essentially just bought the dip effectively because there's smaller moving averages and or confirming factors that it looks for. We took some profits on SUI, Bitcoin, XRP, ICP, Chainlink as well. So congrats to our community for that. Obviously, that is our plus group. When it comes to our swing trades, we had a short open with Bitcoin. Well, we still do. We shorted Bitcoin from 96.5 to 94.5. And I just covered it, and it's looking tentatively bullish, but macro is still very bearish, right? So you got to recognize this here, and I like to touch on this so you understand how Bitcoin moves, because Solana was moving very concurrent with Bitcoin up until just about 12 to 24 hours ago. And we can see here we got this bearish type of flag that likely will break to the downside unless we can close above 95.5, 96.5, right in that range. How that reflects Solana is similar in a lot of ways, but we got to identify too that Solana has broken free from its ascending trend line. It is essentially moving independent of Bitcoin at this point, and in most cases should continue further higher. We got to respect the fact that we have a resistance at 193, which we're tentatively breaking through. So we got to kind of see how that treats us here, but the general consensus is that it should continue higher. But you got to recognize too, 9 times out of the last 10 times that Solana has been moving upwards lately, it's getting rejected pretty hard and soundly at specific key levels. Okay, that's again, the descending trend line, just not only from the short term here, but the macro too. Like we've seen a lot of times where, Solana's kind of faking us out. So I don't want to get you too excited about this, but it is still beneficial nonetheless. We're still looking pretty solid in the overall sentiment. Okay, go ahead and load this up here really quick. And what we want to look at first of all is the back-end liquidation data. We can see last 12 hours in shorts, majority of the shorts, no pun intended there, have been destroyed, right? So anybody shorting Solana in the last 12 hours has pretty much gotten liquidated, right? Again, these are high leverage shorts in most cases because they were low leverage. They'd be much further away. In fact, I always recommend low leverage. Truth be told, when you look at these results here, these are all 5 to 6x leverage trades in my day trades, and for my swing trades. Like Bitcoin, for example, I only ever 10x Bitcoin, everything else is 5x. So I'd recommend the same scenario for you or same trading conditions, because you don't want to be another statistic if you're trading a coin like this, right? Because nothing worse than getting stopped out and the price turns around immediately. What I'm getting at here is that we're getting close to that upper level liquidation being fully swept as far as the smaller timeframes are concerned, and there's a good chance that we'll see the price turn around here in the relative near future. Again, it doesn't mean the price is going to go to zero, it just means that natural capitulation, what goes up must come down, okay? So we probably should see that. Now, we take a look at the last 7 days, this is where things kind of probably, I imagine, would change a little bit. Because again, you look at the macro here, that really doesn't tell us too much. This tells us 205 is probably the local high. If we look at this here from the larger term time frame, 205 is also that area. So we got 1, 2, maybe 2.5 to 3 billion in liquidation at roughly 205 to 200. Okay, so easy way to understand it is that the price continues to run. 205 will be a likely turnaround point for Solana. Now, is it a case in point where you just short that level? It depends on your overall position and what you're planning to do with it, right? If it's a day trade, probably okay. If you're swing trading, maybe a different story. You may want to wait because again, it's not really ideal to just trade into an overextended state. All right. Having said that, though, liquidation delta here is kind of pretty flat for the most part with this coin. So that really just tells us there's a lot of indecision here. That there's just as many people taking longs as there are taking shorts. We'll take a look at open interest. Some late longs here at 186 and or early longs at 181 are currently prevailing, so congrats to you on that. I added to my spot bag at 185 and 180, so I feel good about that myself. But again, the price could very well still pull back, so just be mindful we're not totally out of the woods yet. But this short-term turnaround is looking pretty beneficial. Let's take a look at the SMAs and the macro, kind of work our way down. It's mostly just the daily time frame. Once more, I cover weekly and or monthly closures at the end of the month, at the end of the week. This week hasn't closed yet, so we cannot presume to use that information just yet. Anyways, we're below the important moving averages 100 and the 50. So while this is all nice constellation and everything, until we get above this 20-day SMA at the very least, I'm not going to be super convinced that Solana's back on track. In fact, we need to get over 200/203. That's a previous support and resistance level at 203. And I think that's going to be a point of contention. Especially if we look at this liquidation level kind of right there at 203. I think that we're probably going to see the candle wick to that level, and then we're probably going to see an instant sell-off. And when I say an instant sell-off, I don't mean we're going to go back to the 180. I just mean that we're going to probably see a rejection at first. It's very common, and unless we have enough volume to punch through that, we may not see that bullish backtest of that horizontal trend slash support level. Okay. So 203 is the next area you want to consider for taking profits, securing profits if you're going to be doing so, or potentially even a short if the conditions are viable at that time. So you don't just blindly take a short between now and then. Just so you know, folks, don't set a limit order for a high leveraged short at 203 right now. That's just totally stupid. You don't do that because we don't know what's going to happen between now and then, right? You deal with what's in front of you. Anyways, having said that, we're under 50 on the RSI, still not bullish. Money flow index is low. We can see MACD's trying to converge, but hasn't. There's a lot of reasons why this is a very short-term false positive, and I wouldn't get too excited until we're back up over 203. So I'm not trying to be a buzzkill here. I'm just trying to be realistic in the sense that Solana's been a pretty big fake-out monster lately, and anytime you take a late long here in these cases, you typically get punished. Again, that in conjunction with Bitcoin printing some fairly bearish patterns, I don't feel super convinced that Solana's here to stay. Again, that's just my thoughts here. And you'll know that I'm not a moon boy of any sorts or a fan of any coin. Really, I just I invest in Bitcoin long term and a few other small, altcoins, smaller bags. But the whole point of me saying that is, I don't care for or I don't care against Solana, right? I'm not sitting here saying that it's an amazing coin. It's going to go to the moon because I'm emotionally attached to it. That's just foolhardy and dumb. Okay. Anyways, sorry, I'm being kind of crude today. No offense to you if you love this coin. Just don't be mad if it goes the wrong direction and you don't like it, because it's just kind of the way that it goes, right? The fundamentals on coins means very little. Anyways, as we see here from previous playouts, I posted this playout chart on our Twitter, Telegram, Discord. There's 3 possible scenarios to reject off of 186. That's actually the new support, so we got 0.618 fib. The price comes back to that level. That might be a consideration for long. Again, mainly because it would be a bullish backtest of this descending trend line and retest a previous resistance. Same thing you could say as well here with this descending trend. As you can see, this invalidated too. So great news is we're likely in scenario number 3 here, which is a decent consideration for the price going higher. However, I would love to see the price pull back a little bit further before I take or consider along myself. That's just me personally. I feel like we're going to see a rejection here soon, and if so, I would be willing to take a long in the 186 to 190 range, but I feel like 194 is a little overextended. Again, it'll probably continue to run up to 202, 203. There's a good chance of that. I'm not saying that it can't. I'm just saying that I'd much rather wait for that little pullback before I take a long versus taking a long at the potential top. That's just me personally. Okay, so anyways, just kind of throwing that out there for our time frame. We are above these 2 moving averages, which is super important. That adds confluence to 190/193 range here. So this is becoming a support range for us at this point because, again, we got some confirming factors below us. Same thing as well with the RSI. We're over 50 on the RSI. Stochastic swinging up. Money flow index is high. MACD is converging. These are all signs you like to look for a long. Again, generally speaking, we've seen these signs multiple times in the past with Solana, and it fizzles out. So again, I'm not throwing shade at the Solana, not telling you shouldn't take a long right now, because most factors in the 4-hour time frame, I'm willing to guess the hourly is also confirming too, which it mostly is. And to say mostly, just to clarify, you want to be above the cloud for at least 3 to 4 hours. We've been there for maybe 2 hours. So we're getting close to that, but the general consensus is that smaller time frames are looking pretty strong. Larger time frame, the macro doesn't look very good at all. So again, try not to get too crazy with super massive profit targets, all right? There's plenty of profit to be taken here. You just got to make sure that you secure it and don't just hold on to 300, because I think the likelihood of 300 at this point is very low until we get back up over 200, right? So we got some hurdles to achieve or to overcome. But between now and then, I would just say wait for a pullback to 189 to 193, let it retest that local high and see how it treats it first. That's generally what I like to look for. But again, I'm not a perfect trader. I don't catch all the opportunities. I oftentimes wait too long to take trades that don't happen or never confirm, just because I'm being super thorough. So again, to each their own. Everyone has their own strategy. But at this point, we've taken somewhere in the range of 20 trades, and I think we're successful on about 15 to 16 of those, if I'm not mistaken. We're closer to 80% this month. It's not great. We had to close quite a few trades, unfortunately, kind of early. But again, cutting losses, like we closed out on SUI recently. It was dropping really hard to that $3 range. I'm glad we did. Could have been a bad trade, but either way, hindsight's 20/20, right? You learn from your mistakes if you make them, and you continue to make better decisions moving forward. So that's where I like to come in. If you want to become part of our community, of course, cryptocash.tech is a site, link down below. We do have a lot of new members coming over. I would highly recommend, if you're in our community here, check out our trade alerts. These are available to all premium members, or all paying members rather. Basically, just kind of a summary of what I see in the charts, and kind of an overview of the trades. I send specific signals through this here, of course, our premium and premium plus. We actually get entry and exit targets, but I'm mentioning this because if you don't read the signals guide and you don't use proper risk tolerance, none of this matters. Okay, if you're gonna go 100% on every single trade with your entire portfolio, you don't belong in my community. No offense, but there's no need for gambling in this industry, right? You've probably gambled plenty of times in the past and realized where it gets you, back to square zero. So not fun. Anyways, I've talked too long. Thank you so much again for watching. Very last thing, of course, check out Bitunix, folks. Awesome deposit bonus rewards this month, $12,000 deposit. That's available for the next couple of days. Between now and then, though, I want to say thanks again for being an amazing part of my life. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.